for the presenting of Marie Krane, and it's difficult because she's just incredibly accomplished. She's an artist and she's a gardener, and in fact, she has said that gardening has led her to be a landscape artist. She's going to talk about a concept called permaculture that is about combining a variety of plants so that they feed your insects and your bugs and your birds and bees, and also benefit the soil. And they're actually very easy to take care of once they're established. So I'm going to let her talk because I'm probably going to just say things that aren't true anymore. But the other thing she's going to talk about is a book called The Know, K-N-O-W, Maintenance Perennial Garden. And she mentioned this to me in the call, and I thought, I've heard of that book. And it is, it's backwards, sorry. But Roy Diblick, who wrote the book, spoke at Fernwood almost 2 years ago now, and he was wonderful. So I bought his book there, and he actually autographed it for me. And you're welcome to borrow it if you'd like. It talks about the concepts of permaculture and how to grow a garden using the concept. So take it away, Marie.
Thank you. Good morning.
Oh, wait, Marie, I'm sorry. I forgot. Oh, Marie's also the owner of Tomato Bliss. She and her husband live in Galeen, and they produce tomatoes and make soups and broths and sauces from the tomatoes themselves. And then she's also involved in Cream Co., C-R-E-A-M co.net, which is a group of artists that use gardening to reach out to communities. And it's you have to go online to understand it because it's complicated. So that's it. Sorry, Marie, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Marie Krane from Galeen, Michigan since 2016. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I did put together some slides that we could look at. So here we go.
Okay, I'm trying. Okay, great. Oh, perfect. Yes.
And let me see if I can get into. Just a little bit of background regarding Krane Co. We're community activist artists. We use plants to engage communities. And in 2010, we started using plants like holiday cookie exchanges. And it was a very popular project throughout Chicago. This is in front of the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, where this particular project, we were sharing basil plants in exchange for poems or plants. Let me see if I can. Another project we did, we lived, I didn't have much of a backyard, and I grew heirloom tomatoes. And I would trade the heirloom tomato seedlings with my neighbors who would grow pepper tomatoes. And we would grow heirloom tomatoes in buckets and present these as kind of living art objects. This particular one was on the roof of the Hyde Park Arts Center. I had about 70 plants, and I yielded about 4,000 pounds of heirloom tomatoes. I had a ton, and I made this thing I called it Tomato Bliss. People loved it, and I thought, you know, I can't find many heirloom tomatoes other than the ones I grow, which is so funny. Couldn't find them in the grocery stores. Those ones in the grocery stores call themselves heirlooms. Those are big fakes made with hydroponic liquid and GMO seeds. So I thought, you know, where can I find them? And I couldn't, and I wanted to do something. So even though I'd grown up in a small apartment in downtown Chicago, I decided, heck, I'm going to buy a farm in Galeen, Michigan, and I'm going to grow some heirloom tomatoes. And the farm looked gorgeous. This is what it really looked like. And I'm going to just bring up, I can go in a lot of directions. I really care about plants, and I really care about heirloom tomatoes. But I'm just going to give a few examples of what happened on my journey of trying to learn farming, which, let me tell you, I was no farmer. I was just a gardener and a community activist, artist who loved plants. this is what our land, it looks so pretty in the fall. This is what our land looked like after it had been being farm that about 20 years prior had been abandoned, but the soil's in really bad shape. So essentially 3 tips I'm hoping to share with you today about what one can do to bring the soil back to life. So you can see here, no drainage. Now, everybody I talked to said, well, we're gonna put in drain tiles and we're digging this stuff out, we'll earth move, all this stuff. It was expensive and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I just started reading, and that's just the kind of gal I am. Here's another area of the farm, just absolutely no drainage. The soil was in such bad shape, it couldn't absorb water. Nevertheless, I set out, I'm gonna farm my tomatoes. This is what my tomato field looked like the first year. What one soil may look like if it's been covered with a monoculture. That's one of the biggest risks to soil. And I tried my darndest, and I had a farmer helping me, and we did it the way he told me to do it. And I had this year 900 plants, and it was just Bob and me farming them. And we could only get about 6,000 pounds. Now compare that to what I was able to do in buckets. So I said, what the? I had no idea. And I started researching, how to grow. And I'm going to go back for a second. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can go back. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm a little nervous for a second because that didn't work exactly correctly. First thing I did, we missed that slide, was, and I'm gonna go back because it's worth it. It's my first tip, if you will. So what I did, I guess I won't, I'm too nervous. Rather than take the water off the soil, I dug holes and filled them with rocks. So that's my first tip. If you have a drainage issue, don't let me do whatever you want. I did not let anybody convince me that the water should be pulled off my land and poured into the river. I did not think that didn't make sense to me when come August, it's so hot and there's not enough water. So I made we dug holes and filled them with rocks all over the place. This was now, you saw for a second my drawing, and that's my second tip is matrix planting. And I'm just gonna see if I can get back to it. There's your rock hole. There's my rock hole. So you see what it is, a big rock hole. And these things have just been miraculous for our farm and our garden. I didn't have a landscape architect degree. This was my landscape drawing for our garden. What you see here is essentially, I came up with 5 matrices. So each one represented, I had about 3 to 5 plants, and I put the blue matrix in the blue place, the pink matrix in the pink place, the orange, the green, and the orange. It's just nothing fancy pants about the way I designed the garden. But what was exceptionally important, and I'm a believer in something called the new perennialist movement. And the new perennialist movement absolutely love natives, no question about it. Natives it's a little bit more practical than just natives. And I could talk for a long time about the importance of trees first, shrubs second. And I think those are absolutely critical for pollinators. I don't really know much about pollinators other than as an incident to trying to turn our farm into a farm that worked to grow food. That was our bottom line. I'm going to go back to the full screen. Oh, there we go. Oh, geez. Here is the garden, and I grew most of the plants from seed, easy to grow from seed with the exception of grasses. I also work with a local place that grows a ton of plants for all of the Midwest. And that's where I got the grasses. The type of plants I use, I call them guerrilla plants. Now, guerrilla plants are plants that are rugged. I like them to serve multi-purposes, not just gorgeous, though that's a plenty good purpose. I want them to repair the soil, deep rooted. I don't want to have to weed, so I like them to be able to protect themselves from weeds. I love an edible. I love if it has fragrance. I like a ground cover. So when I try to determine what plants I'm going to put in, I ask how many purposes does that plant serve? Here we have the rattlesnake master. This is in the Echinops family. We have some lamb's ear. Mint, you got to be careful. It is a true gorilla, but there are some mints that are so multifunctional that they're really worth it as far as I'm concerned. Here's a close-up version. This is year one in our garden. And we have the rattlesnake master. You can see these globes are all seeds. That's what a pollinator likes, a round form that they can get on all the seeds. Then we also have here some Karl Forster grass and little blue stem. So your little blue stem is a native. Your Karl Forster is a cultivated plant. The rattlesnake master is one of the oldest plants in the history of plants. It was originally used to make shoes. So it definitely fits that multi-purpose planting. This is the garden just 1 year later. Here you can see the Karl Forsters. You can see the white is something called mountain mint. Amazing. It smells like spearmint. It's terrific for tea. We have coneflowers, alliums, monarda, and something I recommend instead of the butterfly bush, which is invasive without much purpose. So that's where I draw the line and where I would say go native. I don't go native or go guerrilla as long as it's multi-purpose. Don't go for something, for me, I'm not going to go for something that's invasive that doesn't serve much purpose. The Vitex plant, which is what you see here, it's also called the chaste tree, is a fantastic substitute for your butterfly plant. Here we see coneflowers. I grew coneflowers from seeds. I think I had three packages of seeds. I was able to grow 20,000 coneflowers from seed. Easy peasy. It's an easy peasy plant. As you'll see, this is beloved by wildlife throughout the year. So that's the other thing. Like when I'm looking at a plant, I'm saying, how long is it in service to the landscape? Is it, and I love, let me just assure you, winter aconite ephemeral, a complete favorite. It just brings so much joy now. The coneflower is going to be the opposite of that because it is still up today. Here, just had to throw in, here's a little, our garden is covered with these, the monarch caterpillars that are eating everything in the spring. Some more gorillas. We have Baptisia, we have Amsonia, and then the lamb's ear in the Stachys mint family. And the Stachys, some of the gorillas just spread. So look I am a farmer and I am aiming to revolutionize the tomato industry and save heirloom tomatoes from extinction, which is how my project grew. The more I found out about the importance of soil in our food supply. It is predicted by 2050, we will no longer be able to produce food in soil because our soil is so degraded. I am on the business side, we grow tomatoes regeneratively beyond organic, aiming to heal the soil to make things better. And regeneratively grown food, I believe, is the future, and I fight for it here. And I plant for it here, and it's easy to plant for it here. Honestly, it's a lot less work than anything I ever did before I got into this stuff. Here is another one of, remember my bands of color? This band of color includes the Stachys, and then of course the butterfly weed, which is the orange. Here's a rattlesnake master. The rattlesnake is a gorilla. It has self-seeded itself all over our garden. Another view of the lamb's ear and the Stachys. You can now see the Andropogon, which is big blue stem. I just want to show this idea of 12 months a year. This is my garden in November. There's your big blue stem and something called Lespedeza, bush clover. That it's not a native. It's a little bit controversial, but I'll save that. This is our garden in January. So to my mind, this is where growing with gorilla plants and really tending to the structural impact of the plants really counts, because our garden is alive with wildlife in December, January, and February. Same, December. Here too, I'm just gonna throw in, boxwood is a native. It brings structure to the garden, but here we have the grasses I mentioned. You can see the cone flowers. This is, I think, thyme. So I'm a big believer in herbs. Deer don't eat the herbs unless they're super hungry. They're a multi-purpose plant. And here's my last slide. This is a rock hole, and this is my last tip. We have this is March, maybe I think last week, we cut all the plants down and leave them as mulch. So there's no effort expended by me clearing my detritus. The detritus in a KNOW maintenance garden, and Judy mentioned the book. I did put in the comments section 3 of the books that I really recommend to get started on this. You just, have essentially a living mulch. The concept behind it is, this is the way the forest floor works. The stuff falls on the forest floor and it helps to build life. You see here are 3 hoop houses. So, last year at our farm, where we have 3 acres in production, we grew 35,000 pounds of heirloom tomatoes with no spray, no herbicide, no fertilizer. We grew 10,000 pounds of food, which we share it with local farmers who you see at the farmers market and give it to Feeding America. Tending to the soil first really works for us. It is important. We have a gift here in Galene, Michigan, in Southwest Michigan. We are the fruit belt of the country. We used to produce more produce and more diverse produce than California. And we have the key to changing agriculture in order to make it serve farmers and protect the future of food. Our own project is to save heirloom tomatoes from extinction. Right now, I'm just gonna jump on the soapbox for 1 minute to say our international, the whole world food supply, so had 90% of the tomatoes come from 25 seeds. Seeds that have been bred. The most expensive seed costs $17 a seed because it creates a tomato that can go for 20 some days without refrigeration for transport. Flavor has been completely abandoned. 25 seeds only in 90% of tomato production. The big money solution is called post-climate agriculture, where they grow it in drip inside. So it's all the fluid is the same fluid. That's why they look different, but they taste essentially the same. There used to be 15,000 heirloom tomato seeds. We're down to 10,000 heirloom tomato seeds. The only commercial company in the country that is trying to get heirloom tomatoes into our pantry products is Tomato Bliss, 3 acres. We also partner with local independent farmers to guarantee the purchase of their surplus. But this is, this is the mission. How did I get here? I wanted to farm a few heirloom tomatoes in soil, and I found out that we are in desperate shape. And every garden can become a garden for the future. Thanks for letting me share today.
Terrific. Now I've got people on mute, so if people have questions, please unmute yourself.
I have a question about, hi, I find this just absolutely riveting, Marie, and thank you so much. I'm Melissa. Anyway, I have a question about the holes that you fill with gravel, and you said that was like a transformative action that you took. So how was it that did the soil, I know it retained water. It's like a swale, right? A swale concept?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then does the soil end up kind of filling in around it? I mean, because you didn't remove the gravel's still there. Or is it like an action you take until the soil can actually be healthy enough to absorb its own water?
Both things. It will not, you need to do planting in order to break up the soil. And so there was an area which was just completely gumbo soil. And so we planted clover and winter rye to do the, breakup. The gravel pits just retain, it's like it is a swale. So it makes the water go to that place. And then what it's done is it holds the water and the planting around the gravel pit, we'd never need to irrigate. It just holds the water, it makes the water move a lot more slowly.
Okay.
Marie, this is Judy. Did you do anything else to prepare the soil when you planted? Or did you just let the plants be the soil regenerators?
Yeah, I mean, and we did it. I'm just not we didn't know what we were doing. Bob's on the line here. It was a muddy mess, and it was, so hopeful and so hard, if you want to know the truth, to the way we did it. But then the second year, as we started to expand how much soil we were aiming to regenerate, that's when the clover and rye seed did all the work for us.
And do you mulch? It looked like you might mulch. Do you mulch?
When we take down a tree on the property, we will put it through a chipper, and we'll use wood mulch for our paths. But by and large, the mulch we use at this point is the detritus from the plants we have.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you so much.
Maria,
This
this
Darlene.
is Steve. Can I talk, or is it not right?
It's Steve.
Of course you can.
I ask a question. Maria, I have a question about growing tomatoes in your tunnels year after year in the same soil. And I'm the neighbor down the street, so I grow tomatoes in a tunnel, and I'm constantly worried about draining the soil of the nutrients that are necessary, and also building up the fungus in the soil, which then attacks the tomatoes. And I have to come see what you do, because I want to know how you do it. I mean, you get a tremendous production. I get a lot of tomatoes, but I am worried about what's happening to the soil.
I forgot to mention that Marie will do tours of the Lotus Farm, which is what they lovingly call their piece of land. So
Lotus Flower Farm. I did put my email in the comments. And please, I'm delighted to share what we're doing. Another key to vegetable growing for us is we grow 12 months a year. And by that, I mean, so in our tunnels, we do a cover crop, and the cover crop grows the whole time. So it is like, the more that soil is growing something, the more soil is growing. And so for our tomatoes, and we do about half in tunnels and half in fields that we rotate. But we just, the cover crop, and then we bring in leaf compost, organic leaf compost from South Bend Recycling. If anybody is looking for compost, they give it away free, and it is organic, and it's wonderful. And then we'll bring in, we do have people who know test our soil to make sure that it's clean. I will tell you, as a tomato farmer, we've had years, back when I did it where I do experience some loss. And all of a sudden blight came, it happens. But by keeping soil in tunnels growing, this year we cover cropped it with winter rye and some peas. Keep it growing, and then I have other tricks where we use silage tarps okay. It's a dangerous thing to get me going. But please email me. I'm delighted.
Hey, Maria, I'll see you. Okay.
This is Darlene, and I would recommend, if someone wants to look at the difference of the soil, if you can get on Netflix, there's one called Feed the Ground, and it shows what you can do with just doing the right thing on planting and rotation and stuff. But I'd recommend that. Feed the Ground. Thanks.
Movie or what?
Yeah, it's a movie. That and The Biggest Little Farm.
Yeah, there's actually a great
I would-
book called.
I'm gonna send out an email to everybody, or I'll have George do it, to set up a tour of the lavender farm, lavender farm, listen to me, the lotus farm. So if anybody's interested, just let George know and I'll contact Marie and set that up for everybody.
Yeah,
Great.
Terrific.
They're right down the street from Steve and Hillary.
Thank
I just
you,
have
Marie.
one question, Marie. Yeah, it's Melissa again. I've been working a little bit with this natural habitat group on the other side of the lake. So I'm from Chicago, but this one's in Evanston. And they've recently, can you hear me? Okay, they've been talking about a lot about how to encourage and nurture our pollinators just within our own, small yards. And one thing that they've said, talking about, not doing the garden cleanup like everybody does, and not only cease and desist from leaf blowers, but when you try not to cut until like June, because those stems actually are the little burrows or nurseries for all different kind of life cycle for pollinators. So I'm actually just kind of thinking through them. I need to find out how, if you can cut down this, if you cut down the stem at all, then at what height, and when the stem gets cut and it's lying there, as it is in your field, which is great, is that still just as good as just leaving it standing until June? Have you heard about this, Marie?
I don't know. I would say, we are, yeah. Bob and I are the primary farmers.
Yeah.
So we do what we can when we can. and it's, our shrubs stay up. There's parts of our garden that haven't been cut yet. All I know is what we've done.
Yeah.
And since fall of 2016, which was when it was gumbo, to today, it's worked. What we've been doing has worked.
You probably see in summer this whole like circus of little bees and pollinators.
I've seen it. It's really impressive, Melissa.
Yeah.
We see it in January.
In January.
We see the amount of life on our property versus we have an area that was grass. You can hear it. So when it's a monoculture, if you listen, you can't see the life, but if you listen, you can't hear it. When we're on the regenerative portions of our property, it's just noisy with life. And so I'm not this
unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Sorry.
And yes, Marie, you do have a passion, and it's just like it's sitting on the edge of the chair listening to you. So thank you for all your information. And please, people, go into our chat and copy and paste out of the chat. Next week, I want to tell you, next week is the last of our pollinator presenters, and it's going to be Ira Johnson, who's going to be talking about shade and semi-shade pollinator garden plants. And I am definitely going to be interested because where I live is like wall-to-wall trees. So I'm really looking forward to Ira. And please encourage the people who dialed in today or our guests, just come on back next week. And I have the Teresa, I don't have your email, so if you want to attend next week, either have somebody forward the information, or if you send me your email, I'll put you in the invite. So
I would love to. This program was fabulous, and I would love to participate in a visit if and when you do that.
Great. All right.
Thank you so much.
Tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to be emailing people to let them know their time to pick up for families tomorrow. As I said, it's at the back of the Harding's grocery store in Three Oaks. It'll just picking up a few bags of groceries and delivery. It will probably take less than an hour. So thank everybody. I'll end up sending emails and also I'll text. Just want to make sure people are getting information about their times for tomorrow. Any other questions? Hillary, you have to undo your mute.
I'm just waving goodbye.
Oh.
That's all. Fabulous program. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Marie. It was excellent.
Delighted. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Marie. Thanks,
Thank
Marie.
you. Bye.
Bye.